So it has officially happened. Sam Bankman-Fried is arrested on his way to the US to be prosecuted and hopefully put in jail. This story has been beaten into the dirt at this point, but we're finally getting some sort of moves on SBF, his collapse of FTX, and seeing something being done right now. And that is him getting arrested in the Bahamas, completely just listening to the US, cooperating. And right here, you can see SBF's arrest followed receipt of formal notification from the United States that has been filed criminal charges against SBF and is likely to request his extradition. So it's what the Bahamas government said, and this is their statement right here. See them saying, the Office of the Attorney General of the Bahamas is announcing the arrest by the Royal Bahamas Police Force of Sam Bankman-Fried, former CEO of FTX. And they go on to say that the Bahamas and the United States have shared interest in holding accountable all individuals associated with FTX who may have betrayed the public trust and broken the law. While the United States is pursuing criminal charges against SBF individually, the Bahamas will continue its own regulatory and criminal investigation into the collapse of FTX with the continued cooperation of its law enforcement and regulatory partners in the United States and elsewhere. So the Bahamas completely cooperating, Sam not being able to flee anywhere because he is arrested now. So this all is coming together, and he ultimately should be on his way back to the US, back to actually face hard questions and prosecution and go into jail. And we can see that the criminal charges against him are wire fraud conspiracy, securities fraud conspiracy, and money laundering. So there's a lot of things here that are not so good charges. And from the way that this is all going down, it seems like they have the paper trail and they have the evidence. They have something going about this because they executed the arrest for him. So they know that they have some sort of proof that can tie him to this. And his whole charade of the interviews and Twitter spaces that he did, trying to say that he's just some dumb kid, is all going to come unraveling that he actually knew everything and that he was involved in all of this. And so far, he is the only person who is charged in this indictment. The timing of when Mr. Bankman-Fried might be moved to the United States was unclear. While the Bahamas has an extradition treaty with the United States, the process can take weeks, sometimes longer, if a criminal defendant contests it. This is obviously a great start, far from done, and could go on for a long, long time more. But, all depends on what goes on. His public persona was really trying to be agreeable with everything. But him being the only person charged in this indictment, we don't know that for sure. We don't have the indictment out. That's just like speculation. It's supposed to come out Tuesday, so we'll see all that. It might be out before this video is out, but him being the only person kind of makes it so that Caroline, who was spotted in New York City just a few days ago, she might actually have a part in making this case against Sam, which makes complete sense because he threw her under the bus every chance that he got. He was trying to say how it was Alameda's fault and they were the ones who did all this, and he had no idea. He was never the CEO there. And she obviously came back. The rumors were that she was in Hong Kong or Dubai, and she actually came back. So she definitely worked out a deal, has some sort of plea deal that she worked out, and now she's thrown SBF under the bus, which only makes sense because I can't imagine being too happy if you were Caroline and listening to Sam run around saying how he didn't know anything and it was all Alameda's fault. It was all her fault. She was the one who ran the whole thing. You got to think to yourself, that's probably not the best strategy if she decides that she's enough and calls up the U.S. or attorneys here and says, I'm willing to show you everything if I can be safe. That might have been exactly what she did. And even though we think that it's taken a long time to get to this part for Sam to actually get arrested because it's so obvious of everything that happened, lawyers involved in the case are surprised at the suddenness of the arrest, saying that he had been widely expected to face a criminal indictment, but complex white-collar fraud cases can take months to build. He's probably got a case built against him. They have to have some sort of substantial evidence that they are relying upon that connects him to this whole thing and pokes holes in his own little stories, because this media tour that has been going on, obviously his lawyers were not very happy about it, and he was making claims that were not great for him legally, and now it's all going to come back to haunt him. And this kind of cooperates the story of Caroline probably helping, probably multiple other people too, but I would imagine she had a lot of information on it, saying several people familiar with the investigation said the speed with which the authorities moved in filing criminal and civil charges was an indication that prosecutors and regulators had received information from cooperating witnesses. So there's a great chance that Caroline Ellison and maybe other FTX insiders or Alameda insiders, because he was throwing that entire company under the bus, were unhappy with his strategy and decided to actually show up and show receipts that he is lying or he was complicit and involved in doing all this stuff. So we will see it all come out, and it will be interesting to see all the stuff that they have on him. And the same guy who ran the Enron liquidating and bankruptcy stuff is John Ray. He's actually doing the same stuff with FTX, and he has a statement that was for this hearing, and it got leaked. And this is a main part of it right here. It's a 7-page thing, so it's quite a read. But there's some big points right here talking about, well, many things are unknown at this stage and many questions remain. We know the following. First, customer assets from FTX.com were commingled with assets from the Alameda trading platform. Second, Alameda used client funds to engage in margin trading, which exposed customer funds to massive losses. And then third, the FTX group went on a spending binge in late 2021 through 22, during which approximately $5 billion was spent buying a myriad of businesses and investments, many of which may be worth a fraction of what they paid for them. So this is pretty big news too, because just like the CoffeeZilla video where Sam basically admitted that the funds were commingled on FTX itself, the margin fund and what was supposed to be just custody customer accounts, those were mingled together. Now we know that it goes even further, that FTX's stuff was even commingled within that company, and it was commingled with Alameda. They were all together. They were all acting as one giant company, which is already should be illegal. Already that's a big, massive problem if you have a market maker and this trading exchange playing together so that the market maker can front run people and make a bunch of money. That's not legal. And you have Alameda using client funds to do their gambling in the crypto market. When they lost big, they lost people's money. It's gone. So it's ridiculous, everything that's coming out now. Now we have even more clarity. We have the arrest happening. We had SBF admit that the stuff on FTX itself was commingled. Now we have the things on FTX and Alameda were both commingled. The whole thing is a mess. The whole thing is problematic, and we are just getting started here. Insane to see this trial between SBF and this FTX stuff, because what's going to have to come out is either he's lying about his media tour and he was lying through that, which is going to be crazy. I think a lot of people should have expected that. Like, he's trying to avoid jail time, but here we are, him prosecuting this. It's going to be really interesting to see the proof that they have, the evidence that they have, and if his strategy of throwing Alameda under the bus actually does backfire on him. But we got him, SBF, finally in custody. He's not going to be able to be running away, and this is just the beginning of what should be a pretty interesting trial. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in my next video.